At the same time, we are working with the Department of Water to come up with more source development and also fixing our leaky flume that we can get millions of gallons a day and a few other things that in order to increase the water supply as well. Which projects? This one already, again, got their approvals way back when. They've got it allocated.
Richard Michaels. I'm curious about one thing. This community has spent a lot of energy to get a high school here in Kihei that looks like it's finally coming. And as I recall, they came to us here at KCA and gave us about 4 or 5 different potential sites, including one on the Mackay side of the highway where the kids could go by bike and not have to cross the highway. But they selected the one that's on the map, and it's right next door to the outlet mall. So my question is, did those who planned the high school know that an outlet mall was going to be right next door?
I'll bet they knew, but I'll bet that wasn't. I mean, because when you do your due diligence for such a facility, you have to look at what the plans are currently, what's going to go in next door, et cetera, et cetera. But that's my understanding is that wasn't the criteria that they used to select that site.
We're going to do about 3 more questions here and then close it up. So,
could I add on one? Okay, just to add on to the question about you brought up about show me the water. That's a fantastic question to always be asking. Show me the water. We're talking about a 2030 plan here. We're talking about, you look at the number of units that are being proposed for South Maui. Let's think back where we get the water from for South Maui. It comes from an area that I think's under some pressure when I last checked. Somewhat near capacity of a Niau aquifer. That doesn't address Navaeha and the cultural needs there. I think this plan needs to show you the water. They're proposing thousands of units being spread out. And the water, I don't know where that water comes from. We talk about building close to infrastructure or needing infrastructure. I'm not sure if we can answer, if anyone could answer, I'd love to hear it, where the water is going to come from South Maui. But then let's not forget about Central Maui also has thousands of units proposed. And a general plan of this nature should, if the small guy needs to do it, I think we would also need to do it for a general plan.
I have the next question, Maury King. I'm kind of curious if the developer knows how the community feels about this project, and if so, who told them and how much of our tone was conveyed to that developer, and might they respond to some sort of a letter writing campaign knowing that they're really going to be unpopular if they come and do this?
I think they might, although they were, let me finish. Yes, they've been told, and their response was in the paper, which really irked me. He says, when the community comes up with $200 million, they can design it themselves. That just showed me an attitude of, we don't care. And so, yeah, that was in the paper. Yes. And so, at that point, it became, well, okay, we'll see what we can do. Letter writing campaign to them would be fantastic. More, I think it's on the website. It's on the website. A letter writing to them would be fantastic, saying no go. But if you look at, interestingly, I've seen some blogs, and I'm going to have to take a look at them again. There's another whole group of people saying, "Yay, it's about time." So they're looking at that too.
What's the website?
Oh no, our website. Eclipse Development has it, but also it's on KCA's website too.
Oh. I have a quick question. Yeah, just I just did want to acknowledge that I'm sitting next to Kay Howe, and I was here to help
I know, we're
be part of FACE simply, but Kay Howe was also a GPAC member. There's a GPAC map that should be looked at. They spent years putting it together, and I thought, Kay Howe, maybe you would like to offer a couple thoughts, or
Thank you.
Kay Howe was-
Ikaw, I'm really sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm the only Wahini up here, and they're all planners, directors, or project managers. I barely can manage my project called my Ohana. And I want to say, excuse me, I'm here on behalf of FACE, F-A-C, which promotes to faith equity, faith action for community equity. And the reason we're here is simply because part of what we do are one-on-ones and outreach to the communities. And this is just so that communities have that same parity with every other community. I am not, and I must say, excuse me, I'm not from this place, but I'm here on behalf of my brother, Stan Franco, who is from this place, your area of Kihei, South Maui, Pulehunui. But our mission, actually, my mission today here, was to invite all of you to participate as your community. Remember, the experts of this place is those of you who occupy this place, who come from this place, and who know this place better than anybody else who are not from this place. And I know it's sometimes disheartening, and for many of us local people, confusing or frustrating when we are talking about projects that we have no knowledge of. And I think for a lot of us, if we don't know, we become very suspect. And I think those are the questions you ask. What happened in 1995? What happened in the 60s? Where our water going to come from? Now, Show Me the Water, I think, was very pivotal. It has to be there, and it has to be shown. Because without the water, we cannot sustain ourselves. And know also that the Hawaiians are very, very particular with knowing that no water, no life. And we also know that we are very willing to share, which has happened with the South Shore. The water you get on the South Shore, I don't think comes from the South Shore. And so you have to realize that there are other communities, your other ohana that is allowing you this opportunity to sustain yourselves and the generations to come. Most of the time it's rhetoric, for us, because we don't quite understand. He said when he was here, but he knows because he read it someplace else. And for us, it's confusing and very frustrating. I'm sorry that we lost some people in frustration because they felt they were either being lied to, not told the truth, or not really told what you need to know. Part of this exercise here is FACE was hoping that it would be able to offer the opportunity for you to share, which is why we got these maps, we got these little post-it notes, and we want to stand by there as you put what you like, what you don't like, or perhaps what you desire. For those of us who are born and raised and then we are going to die here, we always look for the next 7 generations to come. So it's not about me making my business great for my lifetime, but it's for the rest of the generations, be it yours, your neighbors, or that from the community. And I think part of the important things that we sometimes fail to really understand is that word malama. I think more and more as we're going to these crises of, bad mortgages, unemployment widespread, and people that have lost everything, including they're calling mortgages that are underwater now. I think I have one of those. And part of that is that it's all about caring, And perhaps this is a segue that was meant to be, that we now have to sit back. Many of those of us who was making a lot and had a house are now not in that same position. I know I have ohana that went from 6 figures to no figures real fast. And things that we never expected in our lifetimes to happen, where people who are supposed to be enjoying retirement with their 401ks, they don't even have the K, let alone the 401. And that's, it's hurting it should hurt every one of us, whether we're in the 1% or the 99%. And I think all of you have the opportunity, you have the power to do what you want to do for your community. And that's why FACE is here, because we want you to come look at those places. We want you to fill out that questionnaire, because if they didn't know, after they get the questionnaire, they'll all know about it. And that's why we're here. I aloha you and thank you, because I did sit on this thing called GPAC that is supposedly came out with the plan that is now being morphed and a little bit different from what we thought. But I want to let you know that GPAC was 25 people. If you times that times 100 that we knew, that was 2,500 people. We went throughout the island of Maui, and on there sat people who would probably never have sat together before, except they wanted to be on this GPAC. And we had some very, I think, fervent and exciting discussions. Many of us didn't quite know who stood where and who worked for whoever, but in the end, we tried our best to figure out a way to get together a plan to at least start the framework. Not to say you could not have your community plans come up and add them. That did not negate any of the community plans. We wanted some kind of framework just to help out our planning department and those projects who weren't sure what they could expect. But aloha for coming here tonight. I hope you get to stay and make your mana'o felt at the boxes and at the surveys.
Thank you. And we'll open up. We have one more question, and then we're going to
I was just wanting to ask you to speak, actually. So,
My question got answered.
And I did want to mention that we do have another GPAC member here, Lucienne.
Right.
And I think, is that it?
No, done.
Oh, Leslie.
Leslie.
Leslie Zucker, where is she?
Leslie.
Oh, there she is in the back. Okay.
Yeah.
And folks, now we're going to go ahead and make a couple brief announcements, and then we're going to go ahead and open it up for the after marking on the maps and coordinating all that. So real quick here, our next meeting is on the 15th of May. It's regarding the large Pu'unene development slated for Central and South Maui, heading this way between the Humane Society, racetrack, and beyond. So a rather large development in the plan right now. So we'll be reviewing that on the 15th of next month. And also, Dee Larson is requesting volunteers for help with the Keikio Kaina, Kulani Hakoi Gulch. Her cell phone number 205-3481. If anybody's interested, we always appreciate everybody that's able to bring canned foods. If you're not able to this time, we'll see you at the next meeting. Otherwise, we'll open it up. Everybody will be here for questions afterwards. So, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Real quick, an announcement on that parcel of land that is on the website that's saying it's for sale, Zone Department 1. I just saw a preliminary copy from Mr. Spence to an answer to my question as to what the SMA requirements are. His response to me was it's very unlikely and it's going to be very difficult for either of those parcels to be developed because of the way the conditions are in the SMA and the zoning. So rest assured.